In this video, we're going to cover the 3 things you must know to pass the PRAXIS CORE Reading. I'm Scott Roselle, founder of 240 Tutoring, and I know you have to know these things because I've created study guides that have helped tens of thousands of teachers pass their certification exams. And you don't have to take my word for it, just check out the Facebook ratings. Each of these theory concepts will appear in the PRAXIS CORE Reading, and you must know them. So if you want to be a teacher, keep watching this video. And as a bonus, at the end of this video, I'll show you how to get more questions and an even more comprehensive breakdown of the PRAXIS CORE Reading test. So keep watching. Now, the PRAXIS CORE Reading in itself isn't a difficult exam, but it can be tricky. The skills and concepts you learn in this video will give you the foundation you need to study effectively and answer each question on the real test with confidence. Now, the first concept you have to know is how to find the central idea of a reading passage and the supporting details. Now, the reading exam is, surprise, all about reading. And throughout the test, you'll read a specific passage and then answer 3 to 5 multiple choice questions on that particular passage. Being able to quickly identify the main idea of each passage is key to being able to answer any of the questions correctly. And recognizing the central idea of a passage means looking past all the details and all the superfluous information and knowing exactly what the author is trying to say. And if you're not sure how to start, you can try this. First, when you read the passage, what sticks out to you the most? Once you've identified what sticks out the most, try to summarize the passage. If you had to explain this passage to a friend in less than 10 words, how would you describe it? And then look at the first sentence in the passage and the last sentence in the passage. Now, once you do these 3 things, once you identify the topic, summarize the passage, and look at the first and last sentence, you should have a good idea about what the passage is about. And that's going to be your main idea. And if all else fails, just look at what idea gets repeated the most in the passage. The main idea is going to have to be reinforced over and over and over. So what gets repeated the most is most likely the main idea. The second concept you have to know is language skills. You have to know what they are and how to recognize them. Language skills is just a fancy praxis term that really refers to word choice, word meanings, and tone of voice. On the PRAXIS CORE Reading, you will be asked questions about why the author chose a particular word, or what a better synonym would be for a more uncommon or difficult word. An example of this type of question might be, which of the following words best defines the word probity as it is used in the passage? A, integrity, B, problems, C, corruption, D, fame. Now, you don't know the passage, so you don't know the context clues, but you can get an idea how Praxis will use an uncommon word and then ask you to replace it with a more well-known word. You'll also see questions about what an author's choice of words says about the author's personal opinion or intent of writing the passage. An example of this kind of question would be, the author probably mentions that the future of the earth is in our hands in line 8 in order to inform readers about natural events, encourage readers to start recycling, inform readers that humans' desire for oil causes environmental problems, inform readers of their impact on the earth and encourage them to take action. Now, again, you don't have the passage, and so you don't know what line 8 and how it fits in, but you can see how when the author frames or presents a certain choice of words, that reflects their personal opinion, and you'll have to know how those word choices reflect the author's intent. And if you've already identified the main idea of a passage, it's a lot easier to identify the author's personal opinion or point of view in the given passage. Do you see how all that works together? Now, the third thing you need to know is looking at diverse media formats. On the PRAXIS CORE Reading, almost all the questions are set up that you read a passage and then answer a multiple choice about that particular passage. In fact, there are 4 types of passages that the Praxis uses with their reading prompts. And those 4 are paired passages, which compare 2 authors' take on a specific topic, long passages, those are the long passages, short passages, not the long passages, and brief statements. Brief statements are typically just 1 or 2 statements. But did you know that's not all you'll see on the PRAXIS CORE Reading? One of the goals of the PRAXIS CORE Reading is to assess how well you can read and understand visual or qualitative information. And these might be charts or graphs or something else. So you want to make sure you've got practice looking at visual representations of information and understanding what information is being communicated. So if you use the skills from the first point of finding the main idea, you can better understand what an image is trying to communicate. Once you do that, you can use the information that you've learned to answer the questions provided. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Scott is a genius. How does he know so much about the Praxis Reading? Well, I could be a genius, but I did read the Praxis Core Reading Study Companion. Now, the Praxis Core Reading Study Companion is free for anyone to use, and it gives very detailed information about what can be on the test. But it's also very, very boring. The Reading Study Companion has more than 30 points, subpoints, and sub-subpoints about what can or cannot be on the test. Take, for example, read closely to determine what a text says explicitly and to make logical inferences from it. Connect insights gained from specific details to an understanding of the text as a whole. Attend to important distinctions the author makes and to any gaps or inconsistencies in the account. Determine where the test leaves matters uncertain. Do you want to read 30 more of those? What might be more easier or helpful to understand is a study guide. And 240 Tutoring has great study guides for the Reading Praxis Core. You can find all sorts of helpful information, test breakdowns, flashcards, and hundreds of practice questions. It's a lot more interesting and engaging than the dry as toast Praxis Study Companion. And it can save you a lot of time and make sure your teaching career gets on track. We don't want you gambling your future career and salary over maybe buying a study guide or not to prepare for one of the most important tests of your career. Now let's get back to some practice questions so you can see how these concepts are actually assessed on the test. Following is excerpt from a speech delivered by Frederick Douglass to the International Council of Women in Washington, D.C. on April 1888. It's on the topic of women's suffrage. All good causes are mutually helpful. The benefits accruing from this movement for the equal rights of women are not confined or limited to women only. They will be shared by every effort to promote the progress and welfare of mankind everywhere in all ages. It was an example and a prophecy of what can be accomplished against strongly opposing forces, against time, hallowed abuses, against deeply entrenched error, against worldwide usage, and against the settled judgment of mankind by a few earnest women, clad only in the panoply of truth and determined to live and die what they consider a righteous cause. Wonderful passage. Let's look at a few questions on this particular passage. In the above passage, Douglass arrives at the logical conclusion that if women are given equal rights, then women won't have to die for the cause anymore, a prophecy can come true, these few earnest women can have all the satisfaction knowing their effort was not in vain, many other good causes will benefit from this gain as well. Now you might be confused because all those ideas were kind of represented in the passage, so how do you pick out the best one? Douglass has claimed that all good causes are mutually helpful. In other words, by winning the cause of women's rights, many other good causes will be won as well. Therefore, D is the best answer. And while the other answer choices, though they may be generally true, they don't support Douglass's main claim, that this cause is linked to other causes. And that's why knowing the main idea is so important, because it helps you better answer all the questions that you're going to encounter. Let's look at another question on this passage. Which of the following statements would the speaker most likely agree with? Making a gain for one cause in human rights furthers the rights of all mankind. The government should focus its efforts solely on women's rights. Many abuses are simply solved by a few good people. We must work diligently to correct one need at a time. So which one's the right answer? Douglass makes it clear that one advancement for society is an advancement for all of us. These human rights violations are all connected. Therefore, A is the best choice. While B and D both lean towards isolating causes, this claim contradicts Douglass's assertion that all violations and all civil rights wins are connected. Choice C goes against Douglass's inferred idea that we all should be working together. Douglass would not simply want a small number of people working on a goal, but his aim is to unite the people in these causes. Although it may be historically true in some cases that a few good people have worked towards a winning cause, Douglass would not want that to necessarily be the case. Now, earlier we looked at how visual images might be on the reading test. We're going to take a look at an example with a visual and its question. Which conclusion about the peak number of butterflies studied through the winters of 2001 and 2008 is best supported by the data in the graph above? The number of monarch butterflies in 07 and 08 was less than the number counted in 02 and 03. During the winters of 01 and 02, more butterflies were counted than in the winters of 05, 06. The second largest number of monarch butterflies counted occurred during the winters of 06 and 07. The least number of butterflies counted was recorded in 05, 06. To answer this question correctly, you have to know how to read a graph. The answer stems for this questions are a bit tedious since it asks you to analyze each answer question until you reach the correct response. However, taking a quick glance over the chart itself and making some mental notes before looking at the question stems will assist you in the long run in being able to quickly omit incorrect responses. Answer C is the only correct answer supplied. If you want even more practice questions and more comprehensive breakdown, go Google Ultimate Guide to the Praxis Core by 240 Tutoring. On that page, you're gonna get a great breakdown of the reading section and many other practice questions. And that resource is completely free. If you like the video, make sure to like it and subscribe to us. We're always pushing out great content that's gonna help you in your teaching career, so make sure to keep looking out for us. And most of all, leave a comment. Let us know what you think of the video or any questions you have.